If you're hoping for the Dallas Cowboys to make a strong return to the playoffs, well, you're certainly not alone. Most fans of the Cowboys, and honestly many neutral observers, are rooting for the team to get back to contention. Of course, the Eagles fans probably aren't on board with that sentiment, but aside from them, the Cowboys have a huge base hoping for playoff success. That's why it's worth diving into some of the recent evaluations of the team's roster, especially the ones put together by Pro Football Focus, PFF, which have sparked plenty of debate among fans and analysts alike. PFF recently released a ranking of every position group across the NFL, sometimes combining positions, like grouping the defensive line without separating defensive tackles and edge rushers, and highlighting the top players at each position. Their overall ranking of NFL teams' rosters placed the Cowboys at 15th in the league. At first glance, that might seem like a respectable spot, especially for a franchise with high expectations and a talented core. But as you dig into the details of the positional rankings, some inconsistencies start to emerge that are hard to reconcile. For example, PFF ranked the Cowboys quarterback group 17th, placing Dak Prescott well outside the top tier. The running back group came in dead last, at 32nd, which given the players involved makes some sense, but still isn't encouraging. The receiving corps ranked 15th, right in line with the overall team ranking, but the offensive line was 23rd, the defensive line 12th, linebackers 27th, and the secondary was shockingly ranked 31st out of 32 NFL teams. When you look at those individual rankings, the claim that the Cowboys have a roster in the top half of the league feels questionable. Only two position groups, defensive line and receivers, are truly in the top half. The rest of the groups are in the bottom half, or even near the very bottom. That doesn't add up. Either PFF's overall team ranking is far too generous, or the individual position group evaluations are off. It's especially frustrating because you know there's no magic coaching boost here. PFF didn't even include head coach Mike McCarthy in their top 10 coaches list, which isn't surprising given his uneven track record and the Cowboys' recent struggles. This leaves you wondering whether some of the opinions in these rankings are simply flat out wrong. Yes, opinions can differ, but it's important to acknowledge when an assessment lacks objectivity or consistency. The question then becomes, is PFF intentionally undervaluing the Cowboys, or are these results simply a byproduct of their methodology? Is this a case of PFF hating on Dallas? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree or disagree? Starting with quarterbacks, PFF generally placed the top-tier quarterbacks within the top 8 spots, and that part doesn't cause much controversy. You might argue about exact positioning, like where Justin Herbert falls, but broadly, most agree those are the elite QBs right now. Personally, I'm not convinced Herbert belongs in the top 5, but I understand the love for his arm talent. The real head scratcher comes with the middle tier of quarterbacks ranked just below that elite group. Jared Goff was ranked 9th, Geno Smith 10th, Brock Purdy 11th, Jordan Love 12th, Baker Mayfield 13th, CJ Stroud 14th, Kyler Murray 15th, Trevor Lawrence 16th, and then Dak Prescott all the way down at 17th. This is where things get contentious. PFF's analyst John Costco described Dak Prescott as the epitome of a quarterback who thrives against weaker opponents but falters when the competition stiffens. He noted that in 2023, Dak earned a 90 PFF grade, one of the best in the league, behind only Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. That was before a late-season collapse dashed his MVP hopes. Costco also acknowledged that injuries hampered Dak in 2024, cutting his season short before he could attempt a rebound. To get back into the top 10, the argument goes, Dak needs to replicate his 2023 form and prove he can consistently beat the league's best teams. I have no issue with acknowledging Dak's struggles in big games or his injury concerns. That criticism is valid and fair. But here's the problem. If you're using the argument that Dak falters against strong opponents as justification for ranking him outside the top 15, how do you explain placing quarterbacks like Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, and Trevor Lawrence ahead of him? Those QBs haven't achieved more in the postseason than Dak Prescott. So, on what basis are they considered better? The inconsistency here is glaring. You can't criticize Dak for underperforming in clutch situations while simultaneously elevating other quarterbacks who have underwhelmed even more when it counts. That's a double standard. If Dak ever pulled the kind of disappearing act that Kyler Murray did in certain games, the backlash would be relentless. It's not that the criticism of Dak is unwarranted. It's just that the application of that criticism lacks fairness and balance. It seems like the 10 to 15% of his worst moments are being used to discount the other 85 to 90% of his productive plays, which is cherry-picking data to fit a narrative. That's not objective analysis. It's biased storytelling. So here's a challenge to you. Rank Dak Prescott yourself among NFL quarterbacks. Is 17th really where he belongs? In my opinion, that's far too low. Even accounting for injuries, Dak should be at least a top 15 quarterback. Let me know your take in the comments. Moving on to the running backs, the ranking of 32nd feels about right. Javonte Williams didn't have a great season in Denver. Christian McCaffrey struggled in Carolina, and Jaden Blue, a 5th-round pick, along with Deuce Vaughn and Phil Moffitt, late-round picks, haven't shown enough yet to change the group's overall evaluation. While the running back room might be the least impactful group on the roster, PFF's rating matches what we see on the field. It's fair to rate the position group low, even if the running game as a whole includes contributions from the offensive line and scheme. Now, the receiving core ranked 15th, which puzzles me. The Cowboys being ranked below teams like the Bears, Texans, Falcons, Ravens, and Commanders doesn't make much sense. CeeDee Lamb is arguably better than every number 1 receiver on those teams. George Pickens might not be in the top 32 receivers, according to PFF, but the argument that the Cowboys' 2nd and 3rd receivers are worse than those on these teams is hard to accept. Jalen Waddle was more productive than most number 3 receivers on these squads, but he wasn't rated significantly higher. I suspect part of the issue is PFF's methodology, where they seem to double count running backs in both the backfield and receiving groups, which can skew the rankings unfairly. If they already graded running backs separately, the receiving group should focus mainly on wide receivers and tight ends for a clearer picture. This 15th place feels too low. Closer to 10th or even top 8 would feel more accurate. CeeDee Lamb was ranked 6th among receivers by PFF individually, which supports this. Jake Ferguson, the tight end, came in 17th behind players like TJ Hawkinson, which I don't fully agree with given Ferguson's recent production, but that's a smaller debate. And looking at the individual receiver rankings by PFF, I also question putting Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase behind A.J. Brown. I don't disagree that Brown is an elite receiver, but the order feels off, especially given Jefferson's and Chase's impact. Lamb deserves a spot comfortably in the top 6 receivers. George Pickens, according to PF's grades last year, was 24th overall among receivers, so it's odd he isn't ranked in the top 32. Deebo Samuel being placed ahead of Pickens is even more questionable since injuries have limited Deebo's impact recently. This is not just a PFF issue. Other outlets have praised the Steelers' duo of Pickens and Diontae Johnson as a top 5 or top 10 receiver combo. So it's strange that the Cowboys group, which arguably has higher upside and better health, gets such a modest grade. There's a disconnect here that makes the receiving group's ranking feel understated. Turning to the offensive line, PFF placed Dallas 23rd. That seems fair given the unit's mix of youth and uncertainty. No tackle cracked the top 32 players at their position, with Tyler Smith ranking 6th among guards and Tyler Biadasz 16th among centers, trailing slightly behind David Bakhtiari, who some argue had a stronger finish to last season. Zoltan Budeh, the PFF analyst covering the O-line, noted that the Cowboys have many question marks on the offensive line. Tyler Gayton's rookie season was rough, with a 49.4 PFF grade ranking 73rd out of 77 qualifying linemen. The group features young starters who are still adjusting, including Biadasz and Gayton, who is expected to replace Zach Martin. The possibility that the youth movement might not gel and produce consistent results means the line could struggle again this year. So while 23rd place might be a bit low, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The Cowboys' offensive line has a wide range of potential outcomes, from average to below average, depending on development and health. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Jerry Rice, the legendary NFL wide receiver, widely regarded as one of the greatest players of all time, recently stirred up the football world with a surprising statement about the Dallas Cowboys. Known for his straightforward and honest takes, Rice's comments created a buzz among fans and analysts alike, as he both praised and criticized the Cowboys in a way that left many wondering about the future of the iconic franchise. In an exclusive interview, Rice praised the Cowboys' talent and potential, highlighting their strong offensive lineup and the ability to perform under pressure. He acknowledged that the team has the raw skill to compete at the highest levels, particularly pointing out the emerging stars who could lead the franchise back to its former glory. This unexpected endorsement from a Hall of Famer like Rice gave. Fans hoped that the Cowboys might be on the verge of a breakthrough season. However, Rice didn't hold back on his criticisms. He questioned the team's consistency and mental toughness, emphasizing that talent alone is not enough to guarantee success in the NFL. Rice suggested that the Cowboys sometimes struggle with maintaining focus and discipline during critical moments of the game, which often leads to missed opportunities and disappointing results. He also hinted at potential issues with the coaching strategy and locker room dynamics, sparking speculation about possible changes behind the scenes. This dual-edged commentary from Rice has set off a wave of speculation in sports circles. Could this be a sign that the Cowboys are close to making major adjustments, either in their roster or coaching staff? Or is it just Rice's way of motivating a team he believes still has untapped potential? The timing of these remarks coming just as the Cowboys prepare for a pivotal part of their season only adds fuel to the rumor mill. Fans are divided, with some rallying behind Rice's optimism and others worried about the pointed critiques. Media outlets and social media platforms have exploded with debates, theories, and predictions about what this could mean for the Cowboys' future. Whether Rice's comments will translate into real changes or remain mere speculation, one thing is certain. The spotlight is back on Dallas, and all eyes will be watching closely. As the Cowboys navigate the challenges ahead, the question remains whether they can live up to the high expectations set by legends like Jerry Rice. Will this legendary receiver's words prove prophetic, or will the Cowboys rise above the doubts and prove their critics wrong? Only time will tell, but for now, the buzz around Dallas is louder than ever. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.